What's up, my friends? Thank you for joining me today to take a look at my do-it-yourself homemade pool. Now, I think the total cost of this pool was probably under $1,000, but it is kind of like a permanent placement. This pool was about 5 feet deep at the deepest part. It had different depth levels and a gradient up to about 2 feet deep up at the front part. It's entirely built out of stuff from the hardware store. But look at this. This is where it started. This was nothing but a hole dug in the ground with a tarp thrown over the top of it. And this is where our story is going to start today. This was my very first attempt to make a homemade do-it-yourself pool. So that was the starting point, a little more than a puddle you could sit in. But next I used stone to build up the edge a little taller. Each day I would go to the hardware store, pick up new stone. They ran about $1.35 a piece. I would then stack them in an alternating pattern. The dirt that I would dig out of the inside, I would pile it around the outside of the stones to help keep the stones from pushing outwards from the water pressure. So at this point, the pool was maybe approaching waist deep in the deep hole down in the middle. But this was still just a starting point. So after the experiments with the silver tarp, I decided to try a blue one, which I found that somewhat enhanced the feel and the look of the pool. Here we're experimenting with different pump bucket options and waterfall bucket ideas. Throughout this project, I must have tried a dozen or more different pump and filter arrangements. On any given day, it kind of would look like this. There'd be some leaves, but this was before I started figuring out a skimmer option. So my first skimmer attempt is right here, and it was honestly not a very good one. It was hard to keep it balanced, actually, as far as the flowing. Here I start experimenting with a large set of buckets as a double waterfall. It was kind of fun. Skylines changing, oh, I know. We're treading so close yet so distant. So blessed. The next problem became algae and leaves and junk getting stuck in the pool, so I started working on a skimmer, a better skimmer that would actually sit in the water like this or something. I found that yes, I could actually skim possibly even the entire surface of the pool overnight. This was only using one pump, which was about a 500 gallon per hour pump, but it would still get the most of the surface pulled clean overnight. So I've raised the level of the pool. I've leveled it a little better. The next thing I did is a totally junk-created skimmer. It's pulling water in, and I know this is probably hard to see, but there we go. Down there you can see a stone attached to the bottom and a bottle attached to the top. And all that is for buoyancy. I had to balance the buoyancy of it, and then I had to cut an angle on the pipe so the skimmer ran overnight. I'm actually completely amazed by how well this junk skimmer is working. I decided to make it a little more permanent, and I took that same piece of PVC and positioned it on a pump box. It is gulping junk up out of the water like crazy, and it'll stay at the perfect height because it's attached. So the pool stayed relatively like this for a whole summer. And the next step in this process was to add another layer of bricks to make it one layer deeper. I've got a filter system set over there with a surface skimmer, height adjustable with that big bucket there. Then I've also got another bottom filter that's keeping it clean in the bottom. Every once in a while I have to pull a few leaves out of the bottom, but other than that, the whole family has fond memories of that summer. The dogs loved the pool, everybody loved the pool. Now as we got more chlorine in it, you can see how it started to stain the tarp. After a single summer of use, you would want to drain it and probably even put a new tarp. Next, I tore the whole thing down. It's filled in with dirt, flattened out, and we tried to sell the house. Well, at that time we didn't sell the house. It turned out, let's go ahead and stay a little while, so I figured, okay, let's build the pool that I wanted to build before, but I was holding back. Well, I felt a little more confident now as I started to shape the entire pool shape out of the available area here. So a quarter of the pool turned out to be over 5 feet deep, while the rest of the pool ranged in depth between 4 and 2. Obviously here I'm digging deeper and deeper while I pile dirt around the exterior, and as I went I would attempt to level that dirt wall by walking along the top rim and by then attempting to spread the dirt as evenly as possible, and then I would walk around with a stick with a level laying across it and try to get it all as level as possible that way. And I was slowly able to build the dirt walls around the pool to where they were pretty much level. What I wanted to do was to build and actually mortar the entire pool out of cinder blocks. So here I've started on that, but I'm still working on building the rest of the dirt wall up to support where the bricks are going to have to start. Now I understand this is a bonehead move as far as the structure of building a wall or something like this out of concrete, but building it kind of on a teetering little rim of dirt. I mean, obviously this sounds like complete lunacy. All extremely obvious design flaws aside, it actually did work. And this is just as simple as doing mortar with cinder blocks. And as I go, I'm building the dirt wall up to level to where they start at the right place. Then I'm putting a capstone around the outside, mortaring it all together so that it can't erode my dirt wall away. And likewise on the inside, the tarp will also prevent the entire inside wall from eroding as well. And also the water pressure pressing out on the cinder blocks keeps any danger from them trying to fall inwards from happening. Meanwhile, if erosion happens enough, the wall can crack and cause a problem. However, the tarp still will not be severed if the wall cracks. It actually won't drain the pool even if your wall cracks, and you have an opportunity then to fix your wall back up or try something else. So yeah, it was a massive amount of work. This next part is where the fun starts happening though. You bring in your massive tarp, which this was about a $55 tarp ordered on Amazon, and I think it was a 30 by 40 or something like that. So once you get your tarp in place and you start to fill the water up, you go around the edges and put your capstones on top of the tarp, and then as you go, you can cut the tarp off if you want, or you can roll it up. But as you go, you tighten the tarp up. As the water level rises and it gets more and more weight pressing out from the inside, it gets safe to pull that tarp up really tight around the edges and get it nice and a little bit cleaner looking. In this case, I mean, this is about as good as we could do with a tarp. But we loved how this pool turned out. And now you would think that we are approaching the end of the story here, but there is another part to the pool saga, because this is not how it ended up. I could have declared the pool finished at this point, but that is just not my style. I have to continue to tinker with things. We're going to show a walk around here. The pool worked very well like this for 3 months or so, up until a spot where I had cut the tarp too short inside the wall allowed overflow water when it rained to erode the wall from underneath. As ridiculous as the construction of this pool was, it would have continued to work had I not accidentally let the overflow of the pool drain directly into one of the walls. So this is a horrible repair job right here, but it was me testing another concept in which we placed the skim opening into the wall of the pool itself. Super hot Texas heat makes one do crazy things like hang a hammock above the edge of the pool and dangle one's feet in the cool water. Well, I'm glad that we've had this lovely moment with the pool at this time. I also have to say that shortly thereafter, I tore one of the walls of the pool down yet again because I thought maybe I could build a better one out of earth bags. The next experiment was a reverse waterfall in which the water level in the pool was higher than the water level in the bucket. This had the added benefit of the bucket now being the overflow point, which would allow the water to flow out without eroding anything that was crucial to the stability of the pool.
This is the progress on rebuilding the pool. We've got earth bag wall around this backside, which I'm gonna mortar over. We've got a pump bucket here, which is kind of hanging off the edge of the pool like this, because right now I have the pumps down in the water, pumping it up in here so that it falls like a waterfall.
But water level's a little higher, so now we've just got the water flowing constantly over the edge and pulling the leaves, anything on the surface. See all the little junk flowing right in here perfectly, where it'll be caught by the little filters on those pumps. So this is pretty cool that it's working as designed so far. As strange as these methods may appear, it really did work. Look at all the junk in there that it's pulled off of the surface of the pool.
Skimmer concept in action here. I've got my pumps going. As you can see, the water here in this pump bucket is pretty gross because it's just steadily pulling stuff from the pool.
With the proof of this concept working, I decided to mortar the earth bag wall in.
You can see here I've added a third pump, and the addition of this pump allows us to raise the water level, and the water is now flowing really fast. It's pumping a ton of water.
The new one does about 3,200 gallons per hour.
The step on this process is to set stones in mortar as the spillway. So I've selected a few stones that would kind of fit there and that I could mortar around. So the next thing to do is to drain the pool down below this level and go ahead and kind of mortar this entire little gap. In addition, I have done a mortared spillway, which from over here actually kind of looks cool if I get the angle right over there. But anyway.
So I did learn a lot about pools and how to make one. However, we did sell this house shortly after this, and therefore I never got to fully finish this strange contraption that I had worked on for a really long time. But the proof of concept was good. The pool generally stayed clean over the summer when we wanted to use it, and the total cost of building it was probably less than $1,000, whereas the cost of re-implementing the pool with a new tarp and new chlorine, of course, each summer could range from $60 to $80 per summer as far as the upkeep. So it really is generally a pretty cheap option as far as pools go. So thank you very much for watching the video, and I hope you have a good day. Bye.
So I'll stay with you.